All right, you guys, stage one of El Diablo build. We are going to go ahead and swap out tires. Interestingly enough, the factory tire size on this guy is 32¼ inches. The speedometer for the Grenadier and the Quartermaster is off enough to warrant a 33.8 inch tire will correct the speedometer to being exactly where it needs to be. So basically we're geared a little bit deeper than we need to be on this guy. So I went ahead and purchased, these are not expensive tires, but they're aggressive. They're the perfect size. It's kind of hard to find something that's 33.8 inches. I found that it is casing wise an 11, right at 11 inches. And again, 33.8. The factory tires, 10.5. I'll measure that casing. It is 10.5 by 32.3, 32.25. So anyway, what we're gonna do right now is I've got to run into town. Somebody's got a set of wheels, factory steels that we're gonna go ahead and purchase for this. We're gonna get these tires mounted on the new steel rims, but I'm still gonna go ahead and keep the BFGs on so we can switch back and forth and I give you guys some feedback. So time to load up. One thing I will say right off the bat, this tire is a much deeper tread, a much deeper tread. So it is gonna be louder for sure. We'll do some testing to see how much louder it is. Also, the durometer of this rubber is significantly harder than what's on the BFG. The BFG actually is a really nice design. The rubber seems very nice. The durometer is right where I think it needs to be. This will be a quieter, better in the snow tire for sure. We'll see off-road. I already know how good or how not good these are. We'll see how these guys are. These have a nice sharp edge right across here to prevent me from side hilling, sliding down. Meaning I can side hill and I'm not gonna slide down and crunch into the tree so much. Plus a good amount of sidewall protection to hopefully not slice them. I actually ran the same tire on one of my little rigs a couple years ago with pretty good success. I did slice one down the sidewall, of course, but it was pretty exacerbated condition. So let's load them up and get rocking. You guys with Quartermasters, you need a tray. The flatbed is so handy. Stuff like this, you just can't beat it. Okay, one thing I'm also gonna mention, you guys, this is very important for everybody who's afraid of putting a lift on these things, rightly so. This will require 0 lift kit whatsoever. So this should be perfect, shouldn't have any rub with the stock vehicle. I'll verify that. But this way you don't have to worry about a drive shaft issue or doing a lift or doing any of those things. This should, like I said, be the perfect bolt-on tire for this vehicle to get a little bit more off-roady and also get that speedo exactly where we want to be on the Grenadier and the Quartermaster. Perfect side-by-side here, boys and girls. Not inflated, of course, but they're going to be pretty darn close to this. You can see the overall tire size slightly bigger on this than the factory little skateboard wheels. This should definitely provide some much needed ground clearance. And again, we're not going to be, our speedo is going to be right on tag, and it shouldn't really affect our shifting points too much at all. Let's go ahead and see what these guys weigh. Factory tire, the BFG, is sitting at real world weight, just over 53 pounds, 53 plus. So under 54 pounds for that guy. Now, Mr. Chunky Darrow here, just over 62 pounds. So we're looking at a 9-pound increase per tire, per wheel tire combo. That's not as bad as I thought. That's still a chunk, but it's not terrible. But again, you look at the size, you can see there is definitely a difference. And there's a lot of extra rubber on this thing. So that's pretty much what we're looking at. We'll see how it goes. Goody, back for the tire shop. Here they are. They actually look pretty aggro. We'll see how they perform. You guys, if you're looking at Ineos, looking at a Grenadier versus the Quartermaster, even if you didn't have the tray like we've got here, the Quartermaster's so stinking handy, man. I couldn't put 2 tires, maybe 3 tires in a Grenadier, but anyhow, let's see what these guys kind of look like. Oh, they're not overly light, but they're not terrible. Should be pretty good. The compound's a little on the hard side. Honestly, it wouldn't be bad a little extra siping put in these things, but we're gonna run them out of the box and see how they work. Now, we were thinking of these would be big enough, but golly, the world that I live in, is this really gonna work? Obviously it's not a MOG, so yes, it's gonna work. But anyway, I just had to show you out there. Double B-lock, forged aluminum wheels. Man, that's nice stuff. But let's get back to the project here. I measured these out real size-wise, you guys. They're literally only an inch bigger than this. But with the vehicle sitting on them weight-wise, look at how much bigger they look. These, instead of coming in at 33.8 like they're supposed to, come in at 33, less than 33 and a half, maybe 33.3. I'm gonna get them on, see what it'll look like. Guys, this is something that I've been talking about a lot with the Ineos machines. This outer knuckle assembly is absolutely massive, huge, huge, huge. And then on top of that, look at look at the tie rod on this thing. This is huge 1.5 ton truck stuff, massive. Pitman arm to boot, also massive. This thing is a beast. It's a Bosch steering gearbox, very cool. One thing though, that's also an interesting note, if you look over here, guys, this is our steering stop. You will see I don't have a mark on this. Maybe I do on the back. Nope, I'll have to see the other side. I don't even have a tap. When you steer your Grenadier and or your Quartermaster all the way to lock, you actually have to grab that wheel and crank it an extra multiple degrees before it actually hits that. So people complain that the steering angle is not that good on these, where at least indicated on, I've got a Grenadier from 2024, brand new vehicle with 80 miles on it. No, less than 30 miles. You turn that thing, it indicates 33 degrees of steering angle. You grab that with two hands, crank that sucker all the way over, it's indicating 39 degrees. That's exceptionally good. So people who are bitching about the steering angle of the double carbon CV U-joint, that's not right. You gotta realize that that little option's put in there, and I think Ineos maybe tuned that out a little bit with some updates on the computer with these things, because I do believe this one's a little bit less. You don't have to crank so hard to get it to turn most all the way through. But anyway, we'll throw these guys on. But I mean, again, I can't emphasize enough how beefy. You guys, I don't get paid by Ineos. I'm just happy to see these things out, that somebody's made such a durable vehicle. And I'm gonna point out every positive I can. I'm gonna point out every negative I can as well. Yes, all you haters, don't bitch that I'm not using an actual impact. All I had in the 21 was a chromie. I will torque them appropriately. I'm going light with this guy so it won't explode in my face. I never have one do that anyway. Let's see what it weighs with the rim as well. Stock wheel. Call it less than 87 pounds. Bigger, nasty, chunky wheel tire. $95 on the money. That includes the decals, so technically it could be under 95 pounds. So not a huge difference on that one. I mean, it's measurable, but it's not gonna hurt anything. I am so glad these are not these. I do these all the time. This is like a walk in the park. Oh, it's so good. The weight difference, you guys, is 9 pounds difference between the two tires. This is significantly bigger, beefier. Yeah, it already looks pretty sweet. Since the world of aluminum wheels has been around so heavily with us for quite some time, I want to show you something here that's important on steel wheels. There is a raised ring, a little spring ring that goes around the perimeter of this here. This is actually your locking spring is what that is. So there is a torque rating for this rim. Let's see what that guy is on here. But see how this is convex here, and then you have that ring there? I know it's hard to pick that up. This ring keeps everything pressed out. That convex hole also keeps things pressed out and seats that acorn nut. What happens is we're not gonna crank these things tight enough to elongate or stretch this bolt in order to get the torque. But what is gonna happen is this is going to get compressed on there, and that works as a spring to keep these things from working themselves loose. So we're going to find that the torque rating for the steel wheel should be sizably less than the aluminum wheel. The aluminum wheel almost relies on actually slightly elongating the stud, where the steel wheel isn't going to do that. If you over torque these and you go beyond that, because the steel's so much thinner, you could actually bottom out that lug nut against the basically the stud face there, and then eventually that bolt will wallow out this hole and fall off. Steel wheels are torqued differently than aluminum wheels. That's why aluminum torque ratings are so much higher, because the wheel itself in this area doesn't compress. The steel wheel will compress this spring here, and it's by design. So if you do it right, you're good. But if you crank it down like an aluminum wheel, you'll over crush that and you could run into a very dangerous situation. Okay, the big question is now, can I put it in the spot of the factory spare? Oh, I don't know, boy. It is really close. So, out with the old. Please say in with the new. Maybe? Oh, baby. Yep, we're gonna clear, I think. There's enough slot in the Schlottermeyer here. Please, baby. Oh, come on. Oh, I gotta. I'm missing the hole just a little bit. So, in order to have my adapter for my cool little carrier, which you guys, I never thought this would be good for in the Quartermaster, but it's great if I don't want to run a topper and I want to throw some small things to lock it in there. So I won't be able to run this without modification. We can make something, but I could easily run, let me try it out here. I could easily make a new T-bolt type setup that would go across and house this big guy. So it is going to be doable. I'll see about making one of these, because I really do like, let's see what that's going to look like. Yeah, that's just handy to always keep some recovery gear or anything like that. So we'll go ahead and fabricate a new one of these for that. So if you need one, we'll have them made for y'all. Anyway, pretty stoked. Tire mounting experience with these guys. We got them mounted up here. And one thing I was going to say with the road handling characteristics, at least so far, I don't have a spin balancing machine here, so we drove these off into town to go get them mounted up. And down the freeway at 80 miles an hour and at 50 miles an hour with no weights put on them at the time, they were smooth. It was shockingly smooth. I was like, do I really need to spin balance these things? Glad I did, because they still needed, 2 to almost 3 ounces per wheel. But the road noise, it's low. It was not much more than the all-terrain BFGs that were on it. So very happy with that. The speedometer, by the way, is at 80 miles an hour. It is 0.8, less than 1 mile an hour off, reading slightly the other way. So once these tires wear down a little bit, I say in 6 months, the speedometer will be exact. That's pretty cool. So, because like I said before, the BFG tire, I was reading faster and better fuel economy because the tire was actually smaller than what the speedometer was calibrated for. This is almost exactly on. It's slightly bigger. And again, in 6 months' time, it'll be, once it's got a little bit of wear down, this will be exactly calibrated with the speedometer. Again, quiet. We're going to take this thing quiet on the road. We're going to take it in the off-road course now and just see what the difference is compared to what I had before. So we got no armor, but we don't have any rock either, so. Yeah, it works. All right, it works. Poor tree. this one is going to hit my front bumper. Unless... Okay, we're good. So we're rolling through most of this with the rear locker on and windshield wiper on, apparently. Tires are definitely doing better than the all-terrains would, but it's still pretty dry in here, so not a big deal. There's the belly. Oh, I'm gonna rub my middle. This thing just happens to be there's the hitch. You have, in order to be into first gear, you have to put it in manual and keep it in first gear, push it in first gear. It'll stay there until you hit reverse. Oh God, there was my new bumper. I left a little black mark in the dirt. Doink. Stability of this thing is quite good. Even with it empty, it's pretty nice. Let's see what we can do here. I'm gonna go into this wall right here. Hopefully not smash my bumper, but see if I can twist this thing up a little bit. No, not really. Oh man, I see black paint all over the dirt from my new rear bumper. Yeah, so we're gonna address that on a later one, you guys. As far as the rear bumper on the Quartermaster. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get into the sand trap. We got a half mile of bottomless sand here, so let's see what that looks like. These tires should excel in this. So this is where that BMW turbo power is greatly appreciated. Oh. This is a lot softer than it looks, you guys. So I've seen many a taco and other vehicles get surprised and buried in here. So the true test is to stop in soft. And I'm gonna back it up a little bit. And maybe I'll just, you know what, I'll let it roll forward and then stop on its own in neutral, settle in. Let's see how easily it gets itself out of this. Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, these are good. Back where we started in the Bay 1 of the Couch Pound. As expected, these tires worked extremely well. The happy thing, also expected, well, hoped for, was we didn't have any sort of rub on the tires under full articulation, tweaking this thing out. We had this thing on 3 wheels quite a little bit. I actually struggled getting the transfer case into the center diff lock for a little bit, so I have to see if there's an adjustment. And also, unfortunately, to be expected, I already dented my rear bumper, man. That is so lame. So I'll be able to fix that, but for anybody else who doesn't have a fully equipped fab shop like ours, that's not gonna be very easy or cost effective for y'all. So we are 100% going to develop a factory looking rear bumper that can handle serious abuse on it, because that was not heavily abusive. That was just an unloaded vehicle, very on the bumper. Yes, I left black marks all over the place, but still, you know, we'll take care of that. But again, stage 1, tires, no lift. Basically, I'm going to call it the recalibration. We'll call it the speedometer calibration. Phase 2 is going to be some illumination. We're going to make a really cool little sport bar, not sport bar, but light bar for the front. And then for sure armor underneath, and a few other things that are going to be popping up with that. Again, you guys, the goal for this build is very light build, nothing too aggressive. We're going to try to do it without a lift, which means a lot of armor. And a few other goodies like that. So coming up on the next one, we'll show you, but I think you're gonna like, even the Grenadier guys, most everything we're building correlates or crosses over to that. You know, you just have to worry about this extra ass end on this thing for the Quartermaster. But the new light setup is gonna be pretty phenomenal. That's next, along with the armor we're gonna put on there. So keep watching.